So this next exercise, mate, I want to show you is what we call circle driving. This exercise is a great exercise to teach your horse to start to get some roundness through their body during the circle.
So Clinton, we're out in this desert environment, and even here we can still see some food sources. One of those foods is this witchetty grub. I love these things, they're beautiful. If you don't look at the guts, it's much better off.
It's real important to get these colts moved out. Get them just kind of following their nose. Big old dirt sandy road like this is brilliant for him. Come on, move forward. A lot of people don't realize when you're riding your horses out in the trail, if you use the natural terrain to help you, you can teach them so much more than what you can in the actual arena. So what I'm going to start doing here is just using these bushes and shrubs and trees and so forth to help steer him.
Downunder Horsemanship's Australian Outback Adventure is brought to you by Ritchie Industries. Fresh water for life.
I'm Clinton Anderson, and I have a method for training horses. Getting horses to behave is simple. It's training people that's the real trick. Join me as I tackle some of the most challenging situations with problem horses and with problem owners. Today's going to be a great day, and today I want to introduce him to his first ride outside. You know, the last couple of days in the arena I've worked with him, basically doing the one rein stops, the cruising lesson, getting him comfortable with me on him. But now it's time to get him out and get his feet moving even more. You know, he's relatively a lazy horse now, so the more I can get him moving out, the better. Arenas, especially with a lazy horse, shut them down mentally. Getting them outside, especially on a nice big dirt road like this, and getting them to move out really encourages that forward motion, okay? So I've been working a lot on our lateral flexion, making sure that he'll soften left and right. He's not as good as I would like him to be just yet, but every day he's just getting a little bit better. He has a tendency to be a little bit heavy the last quarter of that turn. So you'll notice that I'll pick up soft, and then that last quarter I might have to bump on him like that to reprimand him for leaning on that bit. He gets a little bit lazy like that last quarter. Eventually he's going to learn to stay soft the whole way through the yield, just like that there. You know, I worked a lot on the lateral flexion with Bundy, as I do all of my horses, and I don't think a lot of people understand just how important lateral flexion is. If you've got any stiffness to the left or any stiffness to the right, you're going to have double that stiffness when you go vertically. Everybody says, how do you get the horse to collect? How do you get his head tucked in? How do you get him to collect? How do you get his head down? Well, the real secret, in my opinion, is get him soft left and right, and the head and neck will naturally come down, or at least a lot of it will come down. But if they're stiff as a board and heavy and stiff, trying to get that head down is a battle. It's when you're jerking their head, on the reins to get their head down, it's a battle. So Bundy, he wasn't naturally real light. I will be the first to admit that, okay? A lot of horses will have their own degree of lightness that they naturally have. He had kind of big lips on him. Horses that have real thick skin, big lips, things like that, they're not necessarily the most sensitive horses in the world, so it takes a lot more work to get them to be as light as you want, and they may never quite get as light as you want. But Bundy's kind of bred to be tough. Let's face it, he's lived out in the middle of the Outback for 10 years. I don't know if you noticed, but I think it was his right knee, but he has a right, when we captured him, as soon as I got up close to him, he's got like a right knee that's like double the size of the other one. And I looked at it and thought, oh my God, I hope this damn thing stays sound during the filming. You couldn't run Bundy off a cliff and have him get injured. You could run Bundy off a cliff He'd hit the bottom on sharp rocks and then get up and keep galloping and act like nothing ever happened. You know, he's just indestructible because I think those horses just had to be that tough to survive in this kind of atmosphere. You know, I think if I put Diaz or Marty or any of my, precious horses out in the Outback, they'd just die in the first hour. You know, they'd just look around and panic and drop over dead because there's no alfalfa, there's no shavings, there's no Richie waterer under every tree. You know, I don't even think my horses would even know how to friggin' try to survive in the wild, eh? So before I head him out here, I also want to move him around a little bit and get him to follow his nose. Now you'll notice that I'm riding him with spurs now as well, mainly because now that I'm outside, I've got to keep two hands on the reins, okay? And I've got to be able to steer him. So I need to use my legs more to make him go forward, and if I have to always spank him at the end of the spanker, I have to obviously let go of one of the reins, and then I lose a little bit of control steering. So he's got to get used to my spurs at some point anyway. I use spurs to encourage a horse to bend laterally, bend their rib cage around. Okay, my inside leg. So I'm just now starting to get a little bit of steering wheel on him. And we're gonna start working on this steering wheel a lot more over the next few days. This is his 6th ride. So he's not great at it just yet, but he's just gotta learn basic steering left and right. We're gonna start using the natural terrain to help train our horse from this point forward. I'm gonna start using bushes and logs and rocks and all kinds of natural terrain out here in the bush to help teach him to guide. Because if I'm going to go mustering some other brumbies on him in a few more days, I've got to have some pretty good steering on him at the walk, trot, and canter. So my first goal is just get him loped down the road for a couple of miles. Just put some steady miles under his feet. Once I get that done, then I'm going to start working on all of my transitions, one rein stops, bending, steering. I'm going to start working on all that kind of stuff on the way home. So we'll see how he does today. So what I want to do now is just get him kind of loping out here following his nose. The reason why I like these big dirt roads like this is that it's kind of like doing follow the fence, but you're outside. You know, the exercise we do in the arena where we get the horses to go up against the fence and follow it. It teaches them to follow, you know, don't change directions, don't change gaits. Well, this is a great exercise for this outside. I just want Bundy to follow his nose, go forward. Okay, nice relaxed manner. So far, so good. He might spook a little bit about different things on the side of the road. I don't get too worried about it. You know, everybody wants their horse to lope slow, but the most important thing you can do is just put miles under their feet. Long rides, wet saddle pads, and concentrated training.
Tired of dumping and scrubbing dirty buckets and tanks? Dread breaking ice this winter? Sick of wasting precious water and even more precious time? Then it's time to change the way you water. The industry leaders in horse products and watering have teamed up to bring you a fresh idea on watering. Introducing Classic Equine by Richie. Fresh water on demand is critical to horse health. Automatic waterers ensure it stays cleaner, so your horses drink more and you waste less. So kick the bucket and the tank when you choose from options such as multi-head heated and insulated pasture units to premium corner-mounted stall founts. And only Classic Equine by Richie offers a garden hose hookup unit for easy installation. Classic Equine by Richie makes automatic watering the only way to go for the ease of horse owners and the health of the horse.
You know, getting a colt on a long dirt road is just worth $1 million because you get them to follow their nose, you get them to move out. You know, the hardest thing with a colt to get them doing is, number one, getting them move out with confidence, and number two, getting them to go in a straight line, because in the beginning when you're first on them, they're damn drunk. They're all over the place. They're weaving back and forth. They don't know how to follow their nose. So having a colt on a dirt road really gets them to move out. Okay, it helps them to move those feet out, and it gives them something to follow. It's kind of like, you know, you saw in the Outback, all those Brumbies would follow those paths, wouldn't they? You know, those little paths, and they'd follow them all over the country. Animals are designed to follow a path. So a dirt road is just kind of like a big wide path that they have to follow. Sure, they bounce off the sides a little bit, and you know, you have to steer them back, or they'll run into the trees and you bring them back, but that's all just part and parcel of riding a colt. But you know, that's what I loved about Australia. I had a lot of dirt roads, and that's exactly what Bundy needed to get on and get his feet freed up, because he was an especially kind of lazy, cold-blooded kind of horse. So he didn't really want to move out real well, so I had to get those feet moved out. That's why I got him out of the arena very quickly. I only spent a couple of rides in the arena. The rest of it, he had to get going, free those feet up. You know, the biggest mistake people make with their colts when they're breaking them in is they let them get sticky-footed, okay? When they get sticky feet, they get sticky mind, which means they start getting pissy and sour and not wanting to move out. I think the biggest mistake people make when they start their colts is they let them get what I call sticky feet, where the colt won't move out. When you just do a little bit of the walk and a little bit of trot, and you don't get them loped out, and even better, kind of, you know, not necessarily galloping, but certainly get a freewheeling going. If you don't get them moved out, sticky feet create sticky mind. The colts start getting kind of pissy and switching their tail and pinny-eared, and then they start crow hopping and kicking out with their back legs, and they just kind of get sorry in general, okay? You know, get them moved out. The quicker you can get them moved out, obviously safely, of course, okay? The quicker you get them moved out, the safer the ride actually gets. The more bound up those colts get, the worse their attitude gets, the more they want to fight, and then it is a bit of a battle to get them actually to move their feet and move out. Get them on those dirt roads and get them moved out. So for his 6th ride, he's doing really well. Moving out real well. Okay? If he would go a little faster than what I want, as long as he didn't gallop off, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Okay? That's it. You might spook at different things along the fence. He's found a cow on the side of the road here, so I just kind of push him past this a little bit, just like that. That's gonna happen to you. Just go past it. Don't make a big deal of it. I want to put enough miles on them to where I feel like their feet are freed up and they're going nice and relaxed. Big old dirt road is great to put a colt on. You know, they might bounce off the sides a little bit from side to side. Don't worry about that too much. Coming up to some other objects on the side of the road here it might spook at, so I just ride straight past them. Don't worry about it. Usually not a lot of traffic. See here, he's a little worried here, just ride him straight past it. Ride him straight past it. That's a boy. I actually like it now. He's moved out just a little bit faster now. I like that. Especially because he's been so lazy. That's a boy. Just kind of go with it. Even if I go a little faster than what you want, just kind of go with him. Don't be frightened to move all over these colts again. up their feet. That's a boy. The only way horses get good at cantering is you've got to put miles under their feet. That's how they get cadence. Steady miles. You know, when you first take them out, they're not going to lope as slow as you want them to lope. They're going to speed up for a little while like you did, then they're going to slow down, speed up. It's all real normal, okay? That's where you got to have that consistency under their feet. Do it every day until they learn to have a consistent gait. I like that when he's trying to break down just a little bit there.
Up your horsemanship with the Clinton Anderson method. Now available in a complete set. Fundamentals starts you on your journey to ultimate control. As you learn to communicate with your horse, earn his trust and respect, and gain control of his body. Intermediate opens the door to ultimate performance as you build on your knowledge to create a safe, willing, and supple partner you control with a feather-light touch. And now, all new Advanced delivers ultimate inspiration to fine-tune your application of the method and reach the highest level of horsemanship. Clinton Anderson offers you the ultimate collection of his wildly popular training method kits at a packaged price.
Downunder Horsemanship's Australian Outback Adventure is brought to you by Ritchie Industries. Fresh water for life.
Yeah, I like riding in the arenas in the beginning just to make sure they're safe. You can do your one rein stops, cruise control, you know, they follow their nose, but nothing beats training a horse outside. I think they progress at a much faster rate riding them outside than what they do in the arena. It's more interesting for the horses. In some ways it's more challenging because you've got objects they could be frightened of. And plus the customers, when they take the horses home, they want to ride them outside. They don't want to spend that much time in the arena. So I need to make sure that when people send us horses to train, we put a lot of miles under their feet outside. Long rides, bring them back with wet saddle pads, and while you're out there, concentrated training. Especially if it's a dirt road, you're not going to get a lot of traffic on it either. So, you know, in my ranch, I've got these paths all over the ranch where I just created my own dirt road. So just, you know, got a rototiller and rototilled up about 12 feet wide and just went all over my ranch, 250 acres. So I got roads that go everywhere and they all interconnect. So I can lope for 20 miles theoretically and never stop. Good boy. He's doing good. So I'm just gonna let him slow down a little bit here. He's doing good. I might let him walk. That's it. Just let him relax here a little bit more. Gonna let him walk. Good boy, just let him relax. That's a boy. Pretty good for his 6th ride. So I'm just gonna flex him here, make sure he stays soft. You know, on the way home, I'm gonna practice all of the transitions. So now I just want to flex him a little bit now, let him air up for a few minutes, and then on the way home, I'm just going to trot on the way home. And every, 50 to 100 feet, I'm going to do some sort of a transition, whether it's be a one rein stop, bending transition, okay? I like to lope away from home and then trot back to home. But when I trot back, lots of transitions, okay? He's just a little stiffer on this left side here. So I'm just gonna have to do more flexing on that left side. Good boy. So for his 6th ride out, he's doing really well. Right, I'm gonna head home now. Well, I'm just gonna redirect those feet just a little bit. Turn him around, start to get a little steering wheel on him. These horses get pretty smart about figuring out which way is home, don't they? So every time he goes a little faster than what I want, I just redirect those feet. So to start out with, I just want him to walk for a little while, just get comfortable about walking. If they want to trot, I want to walk. If they want to walk, I want to trot or canter. Okay, just do the opposite of what they want to do. I want to make sure I get back to moving on him. Just then when I leant forward and rubbed on his neck, he sped up. So I'm going to turn him around a couple of times here. Redirect those feet. Again, I leant forward, rubbed on him there. He's trotted off, so I just redirect him in a circle here. Getting your horse to do transitions on a long dirt road is really important to helping their gearbox, their steering wheel, and overall control. So what I love to do is lope them down that dirt road for 2 or 3 miles until they kind of run out of air a little bit and get a little tired, stop, let them air up, and then all the way home, especially at the trot off, do 1 rein stops, trot off, bend them around in a circle, do bending transitions. Lots of transitions, go slow down, go slow down, go slow down, go turn, go stop, go stop. The more transitions you do, especially with a colt going from a trot back to a walk or a trot back to a stop, it basically gets that colt to rate back to you. So going away from the home, that's when I get them cantering and moving out and moving their feet. And then, I'll go down there 2-3 miles until they're kind of cantering with some consistency. They're slow, they're relaxed. Stop, let them get their air. Because you certainly wouldn't ever want to canter a colt back home, because then they'll start wanting to gallop back home and get fast. So to stop that tendency of your horse wanting to be in a hurry to get back to the barn, do transitions every 50 to 100 feet all the way home. Trot them off, bend them around 3 or 4 circles. Trot them off, bend them around the other way 3 or 4 circles. Trot them off, bend them around. Well, you might do, 40, 50 transitions by the time you get all the way home. And by the time you got home, you've got your colt loped out, you've got left turn, right turn, stop, you've done all your transitions. Plus, he knows he shouldn't be in a hurry to run home. So every time you do this, these colts just get more and more handle on them, and they just get more responsible with time. We'll be right back with more from the Australian Outback, presented by Ritchie Industries.
Fresh water on demand is critical for your horse's health. Make sure it's always available when you install Ritchie Waters. We've got the model to suit your needs, whatever they may be. Get the most energy efficiency with the new Eco Fount series. Get the benefits of both steel and poly construction with the Omni Fount. Get the best combination of value and performance with the Watermatic. And for delivering water directly to your horse, there's our newly redesigned Stall Fount. Ritchie set the standard in quality when we invented the automatic waterer in 1921, and we've been the industry leader ever since. So when you buy a Ritchie, you know you're getting the most dependable product on the market, not to mention the best value, service, and warranty in the business. After all, water is essential. We make it easy.
You notice when he speeds up, I do not pull back on both reins. All I do is pull laterally, 1 rein at a time. I haven't touched 2 reins yet at all. Everything's been through lateral flexion. There, this is what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to lean forward and rub him on the neck, and that's not his cue to speed up. That's better. Now he sped up again. Just take negative energy and turn it into something positive by redirecting those feet. Go the other way. I've got to get him to follow his nose anyway, so I might as well take energy that he's already giving me and do something constructive with it. See, the more you pull back on both reins and say, don't go, the more they want to go. You got to dare them to make the mistake. Dare them to do it wrong. That's a boy. That's what I'm looking for here. Now he's starting to relax pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and speed him up at the trot. Now I'm going to sit, see if he'll listen to my seat, bend him around. Now when I first sit, he's probably not going to listen to my seat and rate back. That's very normal in the beginning. I'm using my inside leg or spur here to encourage him to bend his rib cage. Speed him up again. Now I'm going to sit and relax. 1001, 1002, bend him back this way. Always kind of count 1001, 1002 in your mind. And what that does is it gives the horse a chance to rate your seat before you pick up on the rein. Gordon McKinley always taught me, sit before you pull. Give him a chance to respond to your seat before you pick up on the rein. So sit, 1001, 1002, and bend him back down. So this is all direct rein. Notice I'm not trying to neck rein him, I'm just drawing that nose. Every time I pick up on that nose, he's just getting a little bit softer. Okay, start working on that lateral flexion. See, up till this point, sit and relax. We've only been asking him to soften at a standstill while we flex. Now's the first time we're going to start asking him to start to bend and soften while his feet are moving. Okay? Might have to kick him a little bit on this left side because he's pretty dull in his ribs here to get him to bend and soften. Now, right then, he sped up before I asked him. I've got to be the one that says go fast, not him. When he was sped up, I just redirected his feet. He sped up again, redirect his feet again. So from now on, I'm going to start circling around more objects. Trees, rocks, logs. Start using the natural bush to help train him. He's spent his whole life out in it. Let's just start using it to train him. There we go. You see all these cans along the fences here, these beer cans. Well, they use them to try to help contain the camels, to keep, when they capture wild camels don't see the fences real well, so they use these cans and they rattle a little bit. The noise helps them kind of stay off the fence. Right, I'm going to ask him to speed up here. Now I'm going to sit and relax. Now he just loped off just then, so I just shut him down. So even at this green stage, I've only had him outside today, he's quickly figured out where home is. So he's wanting to speed up on the way home. This is where I've got to do lots of these transitions. The brain tells the horse where to look, your outside leg tells him to get his body over there. But when you're doing suppling, which is kind of what I'm working on right now, you want to use inside rein, inside leg. Because you're trying to bend the horse's rib cage. When a horse bends their rib cage around your inside leg, it gets a lot more softness through their whole body. They start giving to the bit much, much better. Right there, he just sped up. Redirect him again. So in the beginning, his bending's not going to be very good. It's only his first real kind of commitment to it, so we'll just chip away at it every day. That's it. Double check that he'll walk on loose rein here. Now, because he is a little bit excited to get home, I want to make sure that when I do get home, I work him extra at home. Like, I might do some groundwork, I might stay on him and ride him. I'm not going to get off him when I get home. The biggest way to get a horse to run off and get him to want to go home too quickly is to ride him home and get off him straight away. I'm going to take him home and then put his feet back to work again. And if every time I go back to the barn, you make them work for 5 to 10 minutes, pretty soon they'll walk back to the barn real slow because they're not eager. Most horses hurry back to the barn, and it's a natural habit they develop. You have to always be aware of it, is they think that they're going to get more rest at the barn than what they did out in the trail. Show them that the trail is far easier. So I'm going to trot him off now. Sit and relax. 1001, 1002. Come here. So again, same thing as barn sow horses or buddy sow horses. Work them where they want to be, rest them where you want them to be. So if he wants to get back to the barn, make the barn look like work. Good boy. That's it. Double check that he'll walk on loose rein. Don't forget to be moving all over on these colts, okay? You don't want to sit up there real still. They'll get jumpy and nervous. Be moving all over them, slapping on them. Okay, moving all over them. Getting them broke. So now I feel like he's waiting for me a lot more and he's not thinking about home quite so much. But even when I do get back to the stockyards, I want to make sure I put those feet back to work, and I'll show you a few little exercises you can do when you get back there.
Downunder Horsemanship's Australian Outback Adventure is brought to you by Ritchie Industries. Fresh water for life.
So today's going to be his 7th ride, but before we get on him, I want to do a couple of little groundwork exercises in preparation. Remember, every day until I get through the advanced level, I'm going to practice a little bit of groundwork every day before I get on to make sure my horses are listening to me, paying attention, using the thinking side of their brain, and they're respecting me. So here's a new exercise that's really good for colts. It's called stirrup driving. A lot of people get bucked off colts or young horses because the horses are frightened of their legs flapping or them kicking them in the belly or the stirrups flapping or the back cinch touching them. So I want to get my horse really used to all that stuff and have him make sure he's comfortable with it, so when I get on him, he won't be overreactive to that type of stuff. So to begin with, I just want the horse to circle around me. And I use the side of the stirrup here to just kind of bump him in the rib cage here. And I want him to go forward and around me in a circle. And once he's comfortable with that, then I'm going to start flapping the stirrup. I just want to make sure I'm starting to what we call desensitize him in motion. I want to make sure he's comfortable with this moving around while he's moving his feet. Now I'm going to yield his hindquarters. Disengage, bring the front end through, bump him in the belly if he goes to stop. This is a great little exercise to get your horse following his nose too. So he's actually doing really well. He's not worried about this. He's moving forward. You'd be amazed how many young horses, when you start flapping these fenders on their sides, especially once their feet are moving, how reactive they get. Yield the hindquarters, bring the front end through. Good boy. Excellent. Yield. Good boy. That was excellent. Okay, let's start using a little bit more of a purpose now to some of the exercises. Like we've taught him the sending exercise in the round pen where I send him between me and the fence. Now start using your groundwork exercises with a little more purpose. Like see if you can use it to send him through 2 trees. Like we have the obstacle course back at my ranch, okay? We use the obstacle course to give the horse purpose, but out here, use the natural environment to help you out some. Yield, point. There we go. Make sure you can do it from both sides. Come on, move those feet now. Move those feet. Remember, I want to keep my feet still and move his feet. Good boy. Start again. See this little bit of resistance here? Let him go through the gap. He's getting better about following the feel of that lead rope, that halter behind his ears. Good boy. I like now how he's not pulling on me near as much either. He's following that feel better. See the slack in the rope? Okay, this is what we're looking for. Remember the first day I took him into the arena when he was really pulling on that lead rope and he wouldn't do a very round circle? Well, you can see now, just since we've practiced this, he's doing much better. You know, of course he's still on the lazy side, and that's gonna stay like that for a little bit until I get completely fixed. But I like how he's starting to tip his nose in a little bit and have some softness on that halter. Yield. Good boy. Bring him all the way up to me. Excellent. Good boy. Okay, he's getting better about having me touch his head here, rubbing on his ears. Okay, excellent. Well, I think we'll get on him and give him his 7th hit. Today's gonna be a great day. This is Bundy's 7th ride. And yesterday I took him out down the road. I exposed him to moving his speed out. He moved out really well. I started to get a little left and right on him and a little lateral flexion. I wanna keep continuing with that, but now I wanna improve his steering a lot more. So I brought him out here to a part of the bush where I can start to use the natural environment to help teach him how to steer and turn. A lot of people don't realize when you're riding your horses out in the trail, if you use the natural terrain to help you, you can teach them so much more than what you can in the actual arena. So what I'm going to start doing here is just using these bushes and shrubs and trees and so forth to help steer him. Give him a focus point to guide around. Like in the beginning, his circles are not going to be very good. They're going to be kind of more egg-shaped and not very round. Well, as I keep working with him, he'll slowly get better with this and learn to steer a lot better. Now, what I try to tell people is every tree or rock or bush you go around somewhere between 4 and 6 circles. No more than 6, no less than 4. And then when you turn into the object wherever they bow out. You notice that he's cutting the corner right here, and then over here he wants to bow out away from the bush. Then he'll come in, he'll cut the corner here, and then bow out over here. So when I go to leave, I'm actually gonna do a 3/4 turn. I'm gonna turn him in here, that's 180, and there's 3/4, and then I'm gonna head off and go to the next one, okay? So it's not gonna be real pretty at the beginning, but I'm just looking for the basic concept, but he learns to start following his nose. So I'll go tree to tree, bush to bush, okay? Go around 4 times around every one, at least 4, and then turn in 3/4 of a turn wherever they're bowing out. So when I'm steering now, I've got inside rein and outside leg. So my outside leg's the main leg that I'm using, okay? Because I'm steering or guiding. When you're suppling, you always use the inside leg. So I feel like he's bowing out here, so I'm gonna turn into the bush, and then head over here. Now these 2 trees here are gonna be great. I'm gonna circle around this one a few times, and then I'm gonna start to do a figure 8 here. So these are gonna be great to figure 8 my horse around. Going from one direction to the other will really help. That's my boy. Inside rein and outside leg. Inside rein, outside leg. And then head over here. See how he's kind of real drunk right now? He doesn't know how to follow his nose and go straight. This is going to help him a lot with that. Circle around this one. Okay, so it's what I call going from tree to tree, from one point to another point. This is how you get a handle on your horses, okay? So right now he feels really drunk and he feels all over the place. As I keep doing this, I'm gonna do a 3/4 turn, and now I'm gonna look up and head to another one. And then circle around this one, okay? So again, it's his 7th ride. He hasn't had a lot of time on him, but this is how you get a handle on him, okay? Going from point A to point B. It's also really good for hot, nervous horses that have a tendency to want to run off, because they know wherever they go, it's just more work to get there. Always turn them into the object. By turning them into it, it'll tighten up their turns so much more. So if I come around here, I'll turn into it. There's half a turn, 3/4, and then run over the damn bush. Clumsy bastard. Okay. Righto, we'll go around this one. So we definitely got to work on our steering here. Okay. It also helps the horse a lot to have something to focus on, some place he's trying to go around. Turn in, and then head off. You can just do it at the trot to begin with, and then eventually do it at the canter. Look down at the base of that tree. Focus where you want to go, okay? Notice that I'm keeping that outside rein kind of loose. I'm still only using one rein at a time. See how this outside rein is loose? I'm not dragging it across his neck. I'm direct reining him or plow reining him. And you'll notice my inside hand, I'll kind of just pull it and release it a little bit as well. Okay, I won't just hold it steady. Turn. There's a little crossover right there. The more you keep redirecting those feet, the better his steering will go. You're trying to go in a straight line from point A to point B. Now right now, he's kind of like a drunk man. He's all over the place, which is very normal. He's only had 7 rides, okay? But as he gets better and more coordinated, his straight lines will get straighter, okay? He won't be wandering all over the place. When I look and say, I want to go that direction, that's exactly where he'll go, but it just takes practice. So millions and millions of these circles, left and right, lots and lots of figure 8s. That's why people at my clinics, when we go riding all over my ranch, I do all of this training that I'm showing you here all over our ranch.
Downunder Horsemanship's Australian Outback Adventure has been brought to you by Ritchie Industries. Fresh water for life.
Well, mate, there's one exercise in particular that if you do with your horses will really get them listening, guiding, paying a lot more attention to you, and it's what we call rollbacks on the fence. We're teaching a horse to circle. We're teaching him to pick up the correct lead. We're teaching him to stop. We're teaching him to turn. Okay, he has to do a lead departure. There's so many parts to it, but I can get to work on all of them all at the same time.
One of the main things about the Ritchie is not only it's tough, but it's extremely easy to clean.
Yeah, basically you just poke out the plug, swish it around with your hand, clean it out, put the plug back in, it refills immediately.
That's absolutely
Talk
correct.
a little bit about how easy it is to adjust anything on the inside of it, the float, the valve.
The hose comes up, hooks right on here, and then as the animal drinks, the float goes down, it automatically fills back up to the water level that you've preset, and so it's always full.